for about 15 minutes, and I'm just gonna lay it out. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna send the video into your Google Classroom as a link, and you can watch it again. So you can make sure you understand it. The words you're gonna learn today are entered, stored, and reported, job shop, supply chain, and process. That's it. That's all you're gonna learn today. But I'm gonna tell you about them. Okay, so you're gonna understand what they mean. So, when we go to the larger document, let me go to here, and we look at the AI lesson here, right? We learned artificial intelligence, the definition, we've learned machine learning, we've learned neural network, we've learned supervised learning. The next words we're gonna learn are algorithm data, and I'm gonna do a data dive. This is the data dive, what I'm doing right here. All right, so get that out of the way. Data does one of three things. It gets entered, it gets stored, or it gets reported upon. If I pull up, for example, this is Google Classroom. And in Google Classroom, you have people. So when I get the class set up, I enter the data. And the data gets entered on this little sheet right here. So that orange to the left is entered. And then once it's in the system and I recall it, it's living in a stored environment. And when I go in and do your grades and make a grade report, it's making a report of this environment. So the data goes in, which is all your all's names. The data goes in, which is the test that I give you. The data goes in, your answers to the test. The data comes out, your grade gets reported upon, how well you did against the correct answers. Okay, so far so good? Yeah. All right. So when we look at data systems, and when you think about software, and I asked some of the other classes this, name some software, right? Can you guys, and you can see it up here, but like, is there software? Someone say a software name. Sycamore, there you go. Sycamore is right here. So Sycamore is another data entry system where you put information so that you can store it and eventually report upon it later. Now, in data entry systems, there's usually two types of systems anymore. One is an on-computer system, which is like Roblox or Minecraft, where you actually click the button, the application loads. Or there's a browser-based application, which is like Google or ChatGPT, where no software loads on your computer, but you're just using the browser. And what's interesting about ChatGPT is it does all three of these things at once. Because if you think about it, ChatGPT says, I have the whole internet of stored data. You're going to enter a question. I'm going to use your question and all that stored data, and I'm going to give you a report of your answer. So what makes ChatGPT neat is that it does everything all as one system. Some other things, some other terms that'll come up in this whole architecture is the concept of hardware. So things like Intel hardware, things like NVIDIA. You've probably heard of that one. They're in the news today because they're very popular. They make the GPU processors that you all probably use for some of your games, right? The other thing that we talked about in the very first class is the operating systems, right? So you've got Windows, you've got Apple, iOS, you've got Unix, you've got Linux. So anytime that there's software that runs on computer, it utilizes one of these operating systems, okay? So like Sycamore runs here. Who knows of any businesses, like a company name?
McDonald's.
Okay, McDonald's. Anyone know of a company that's based in Sacramento? Anyone know any companies?
Bamboo Inn.
Bamboo Inn, okay. Sacramento Zoo, yes.
Costco.
Do any of you have parents that work for like Blue Shield or Blue Cross or VSP?
No,
No?
but I know
I know,
CSD.
works for the
CSD?
president.
Okay. So,
My dad's a trash
so most of those companies, like we have Sycamore that runs the grades and the students, they have applications that run their business. So like Rayleigh's, Bel Air, right?
Or like St. Peter's has its own app.
I know because I sold it to them. Rayleigh's and Bel Air use Oracle to manage inventory. But I also know they use SAP to manage the business. Okay? And what does that mean, managing the business? It means you've got what's called a general ledger, which is the main accounting book for the business, and that general ledger stores sales, it stores costs of sales, it stores the salary information for the people that work there. So all these systems are called ERP systems, Enterprise Resource Planning. That won't be on the test yet, but that's something I want you to remember is ERP. That's an important term. For Sycamore, what Sycamore is an SIS, which stands for Student Information System. So ERP runs a business and SIS runs a school. So this is computer stuff, right? This is a computer class, right? So this is, I know most of you guys know about computers as games, right? No? You know about this other stuff too?
Now I do.
Now you do.
Before this
That's right.
class, I just thought of Danny's book.
You know how to cook? We'll do a Python thing here in a little bit. That's funny you should say that. So when you look at these companies, most companies have what's called a CEO or a chief executive officer. We have a principal, Mrs. Connick. So she's the CEO of the school essentially, and she runs it.
I don't want to sound like Jeffrey, but that's the wrong principle.
Oh, Principal, you're right, I spelled it wrong.
Principal.
I think that might have auto-corrected it. So,
That's not how you spell
thank you for that, I will
No,
fix
it's
it.
yeah.
So,
Yeah.
entered, stored, and reported upon. Now, we're gonna pivot to the other big concept, and that is manufacturing. So, ERP systems started in the 90s as what was called MRP systems. MRP. So MRP stands for Manufacturer Resource Planning. Oops, not MRF. MRP. And I might as well fix Principal while I'm here. But if you look on the whiteboard over there, there's a picture of three things. There's a picture of a car, there's a picture of a battleship, and there's a picture of a cement mixer. Okay? Those are the three different types of manufacturing. The cement mixer is a process. And a process is like making cookies or making brownies or making toothpaste or making concrete.
So the machine that puts the stuff together.
So the machine puts the stuff together, but the stuff can't just be put together, right? It has to be a percentage. So much water, so much concrete powder, so much rocks. And those mix together to make concrete. You know what big industry is out there that does process manufacturing all the time? Can you think about it for a second?
Amazon.
Think about something that you get. If you have a headache, if you have a headache, what do you take?
I don't know. Ibuprofen.
Do you think they go mine ibuprofen in the ground
No.
like gold?
Yes.
No, they don't. They mine all the ingredients and they blend it together and they make a bunch of pills.
Ibuprofen is better than gold.
Can be. So that's process manufacturing. Now let's go to the vehicle. If you make a car,
You have to put it together.
right, if you make a car, do you go buy 4 seats for the car
No.
and set them on the
You buy
ground?
it pre-made.
Oh yeah.
And you buy,
It's like the Lego.
buy it
like the
pre-made.
Flintstones.
you buy 4
I like
tires.
that option.
No, it's like the Flintstones.
Unless your car's pre-made.
So no, what you do is you buy 1,000 tires and you make more than one car, right?
No.
When you make a battleship, you're making one thing. You're making a battleship. So do you order 1,000 gun turrets? No, you
Yes.
order the 2 you need.
If you want it to be a good battleship,
Right.
yes.
So that's the difference. Is one is a job, one is a job shop. One is a job shop that's designed for a unique final product. The other one is supply chain manufacturing where you're making a bunch of final products. And then the other one is process where you're making blends, toothpaste, or things like that. So those are the concepts I wanted you to get today during our lecture. Any questions?
Tell them to stop.
I'm going to stop the recording. Well, that doesn't mean you can be noisy. It just means I'm going to stop the recording. All right. Everyone get into your Google Classroom. Get into your Google Classroom.
My